Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Micah Let's Play, and guess who I am? I'm Micah, because who else would I be? Guys, I am so excited. Today, we're going to be talking about Resident Evil Village first ever PS4 Pro gameplay from IGN on April 2nd of 2021. Now, before I get started, you know how Micah gets down. I've made an intro specifically for you. Enjoy!
Now loading Micah's Let's Play.
Okay guys, so what we're going to be talking about are the 6 things that I actually noticed while watching the gameplay footage. Now, first things first, let's talk about my other home, Dimitrescu Castle. What I noticed the moment that Ethan opens those doors is that this is the same footage we get to see with the last gameplay exclusive footage we saw with the last showcase from Capcom that was back on January 21st. And one of the other major things I noticed is that if you look around the entire castle, you start to notice so many sigils of the Dimitrescu household, among other things. Now, if you saw my actual reaction to this, thumbnail on screen and link will be in the video description, I was so excited to see Lady Dimitrescu going up the stairs, and I was like, oh my god, we get to follow Lady D. When the gamer or the player from IGN was going upstairs, it immediately cut to the next scene, and that was the giant keyhole in the floor. The second thing I noticed were the statues surrounding this key-shaped hole in the floor. Now, if you pay attention to them, they look very similar to the sigils of the 4 houses, because there's a Victorian woman that looks like they're servants, there's a horse statue, and in the middle of the floor there's this giant key-shaped hole with these blood-stained doors. Now, if you pay attention to the center of the floor, that, my good people, is the sigil of the umbrella logo, or it could be the Dimitrescu sigil. Based on from what I'm seeing, it looks like the umbrella logo. So I was like, oh my god, this is so cool. I was freaking the hell out when I first noticed it. And then the floor opened, and then Ethan began to descend the stairs. Now, when I initially saw this, I said, oh my god, this is where the maiden came from. This is how the maiden, when you play the maiden demo, this is where she comes from. But I was completely wrong. I was just really excited because I saw the ladder, and it made me think about the maiden demo when you climb up the ladder, squeeze through the door, and then you're in that little dressing room when you're playing the demo. But that's not the case. Now, we get to watch Ethan descend the ladder, which had me super excited because I wanted to learn more about, okay, where's Ethan going? Because I was just excited to see what else was down there and what else was in this area. But what I noticed is that this is the same footage, or I should say footage in reverse, from the last showcase that we got in January of this year, where you see Ethan walking through the pool of blood on the floor in the wine cellar, and you see the little goat in the corner. And as you can see in this version, it's not there. So the goat may be in another place. Now, here's some things that I noticed within the wine cellar. Is that you see Ethan say, what the hell? When he's in the water and he stabs the barrel. And when I first saw it, I was like, oh guys, this is something you should pay attention to. It was something we needed to pay attention to, because it shows what's breakable versus what's unbreakable in the wine cellar or within the game. And then as Ethan begins to explore the wine cellar, again, it's creepy as hell. You see these disfigured bodies. Blood is literally everywhere in this wine cellar, and it just looks god-awful. But one thing I do wanted to point out is that you notice all these objects on the floor, so that means there's something there. There may be a possible key item that you get to pick up while you're in the cellar, something that you may need to use for later. One of these things actually looks like a gear. It looks like there's a hammer there. There's quite a few little things in this little pile of things that you pick up. So these could be items that you can sell, or items that you can use for crafting for your guns later. So that's something to consider and think about. The other thing I noticed was the interesting red lights everywhere. I thought was really cool. I liked how it had that real eerie atmosphere to it, like everything's red, like Ethan's seeing red because there's blood everywhere. So I thought that was like a really nice horror movie trope touch. The other thing that creeped me the hell out is noticing the vampire-ish creatures falling into the blood. And what I like about it is that you notice there's a distinct music sound letting you know you've been spotted by an enemy, and I'm so happy that they did that, because I do believe they did that in RE7, so it's nice to see it return in RE8. And these monsters seem interesting, because one thing I noticed with the Wolfmen and with these vampire creatures, they have a tendency to bob and weave between bullets. The zombie-ish vampire creatures seem more like the zombies, where the zombies would stumble around. It doesn't really seem like they're intelligent enough to bob and weave, but then again, they're able to wield weapons, so jury's still out on them. But the werewolf men seem like they're far more capable of doing a lot more dangerous things, on top of being faster. Another thing that I really was curious about, the fact that you get to see the pickup item. One of the more interesting pickup items was, I said in a past video, I thought you were able to pick up the weapons of the creatures. But it turns out you don't pick up the weapons, you actually pick up money. And I was like, oh, you get to pick up lei. And I was like, oh, I thought it was weapons you could pick up, but sadly, that doesn't look like that's the case. So my dreams of a speed run with, playing with Ethan with a sword isn't gonna actually happen. But it was a fun thought, and hopefully, you never know, it may happen later. It might be an unlockable. We'll just wait and see. But the other thing, like I said, I wanted to touch on was one of the objects you actually get to pick up, and that is a crystal skull. I was like, oh my god, a crystal skull? So this looks like this may be an important item for a key, like a door. So I was like, oh, crystal skull. But the question is, what does it go to, and what is it even for? So again, this got me thinking, you might find this in the wine cellar, and then it might be somewhere else in the castle where you have to use this for a puzzle later. Now remember, in RE8, Peter Fabiano said this game is going to have a lot more puzzles than other games, kind of culminating all of the best tropes of Resident Evil. So I'm really excited to see what this crystal skull actually goes to. And then the other thing that I noticed, guys, when I was looking at everything, was the wall that Ethan goes to right before he goes to the elevator. In my reaction, I called it a dumbwaiter, but it's an elevator. I was dumb for calling it a dumbwaiter, so forgive me. So what I want you guys to take notice of when it comes to this wall is that it actually has two indentations in it. There's one at the top where the torch is, and then there's one at the bottom. But they have interesting shapes, so I'm wondering, does an object you find later go to this door? Because this looks like this could be a potential door. So I was very curious. I was like, oh, what is this? Where does this even go? But then again, it could just be, backsetting for a creepy backdrop. But I personally think this may lead somewhere, but the question is where? One of the last things that I want us to really talk about is that when you see Ethan go up the elevator, what you notice is that it actually fades away from this section here. So maybe there's something very story heavy that happens in this section that Capcom didn't want us to see. So I'm curious to see what we might be missing out on in this particular section. Not to mention, it looks fucking amazing. And then from there, we start noticing the phone ringing. And of course, Ethan does his Amazonian Wonder Woman jump right here, making a fuck ton of noise, and I'm surprised Alcina did not hear him. But then we get to see the beautiful creature herself. Alcina walked into the scene, and she looks absolutely spectacular. She looks gorgeous. I'm loving her graphic. I'm telling you guys, Capcom knew what the hell they were doing when they created this woman, because she is absolutely gorgeous, and I love her reflection in the mirror. Now, the other thing I want you guys to pay attention to is the conversation she does have with Mother Miranda. Now, in the past, we've heard this conversation that she had with Mother Miranda about Ethan and the importance of the ceremony and so on and so forth. But when she ends that call with Mother Miranda, Alcina is so pissed with Ethan that she literally throws that damn table or vanity mirror across the room. And oh my god, my life, like, oh my god, I wish she would throw me like that, like, just for real, for real. But all my jokes aside, you get to see the power that this woman possesses. She's so fucking strong. Like, oh my god. So fighting her is gonna be a serious challenge, because remember, she's far more sentient than any of the other tyrants, and I'm gonna go ahead and call her a tyrant, than any of the other tyrants we got to see in the past. And she's strong enough to throw a table. I wonder, does Alcina do some of Nemesis style moves where she can run after you? And then also, seeing this still here of Alcina, you know, backlit by fire and her claws extended, this looks like this might be a really epic boss fight. And honestly, I am so here for it. So guys, these are the things that I noticed while I was watching the IGN exclusive gameplay footage for Resident Evil Village. But what I want to know is, what did you guys notice? Are there some things that I talked about that you already noticed, or are there some things that I might have missed that you guys could point out to me in the comment section down below? And also guys, on April 15th of 2021, there's going to be another Capcom exclusive showcase for Resident Evil Village, and oh my god, I cannot wait for it, because that means we're going to get some more Resident Evil goodness, and I cannot wait. As you guys can tell, I've been super pumped for this game once I discovered what it really was, and I just been gung-ho for it ever since, and oh my god, I cannot wait. But what I want to know, once again, is what do you guys think? Are you super excited about it? Are you pumped for April 15th? Are you excited to get your hands on Resident Evil Village? Because remember guys, it's next month. The game comes out next month, and OMG, I am so here for it. If you guys enjoyed any of this content, do me a favor by considering liking this video, subscribing to my channel, leaving me a comment in the comment section down below. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. Then remember my golden rules of washing your hands, wearing gloves, wearing masks, practicing social distance, and all of that jazz. Remember to give everyone love and respect, and if you do, Alcina just may throw you onto her bed, like we all want her to. Remember guys, choose love over fear, live, think, and dream big. Micah's gonna see you on the flip side, because all Black Lives Matter, so bye!